Hey everybody, I'm Tommy Scoville, and this is the Tommy Scoville Show. People, tonight, I had promised that I was going to roll out and tell you the steps as I've kind of reworked them myself. And I wrote them and then I rewrote them, and I kind of had to tweak them a little bit because, this is a whole group now, it's not just me. And in the process of doing so, I came across a couple of things that I got to take care of first, or it's just not going to get the effect that I think it's going to be the best benefit to everybody that's watching this. What I'm about to talk about may be the most important thing that I'm going to talk about, honestly. The one problem that just keeps coming up again and again and again with everybody that's watching is the forgiveness of yourself for the things that we've done in our past. As you start to get sober, whether it's a couple of days or whether it's a couple of months or years, everybody just really struggles with the concept of forgiving ourselves for the things that we've done. And I admit, it is one of the most difficult things in the world. I struggle with it. I've told you that I struggle with it. But it was funny, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier about it wasn't about forgiveness. It was about just our pasts and things that we've all sort of gone through with this, the sobriety train, this journey that we take. And it occurred to me, we were talking about my past, and the phrase came up 2 or 3 times, in their right mind. Who in their right mind would walk up to the front door of a bank and go, I'm going to go in here and rob this so that I can get money to support a habit that I know is killing me? I think it's fair to say that no one in their right mind would do that. So I want to introduce a concept that I think is super, super important, and it's something that you need to develop. I have talked to everybody about who you want to be when you become sober. You really are a new creation. If you do this right, and you take sobriety seriously, you are not the same person, right? You are a new creation. I assure you, the person sitting in front of this camera today is not the person that would have been sitting in front of this camera 7 years ago. It is as far as 2 people could possibly be from one another, may as well not be the same person. And for all intents and purposes, it's not. So I want to really kind of work on the concept. I talked about labels. And everybody hated the word label, so we can call it whatever we want. Attributes. What it is you want to be. You need to clearly define who the new you is going to be. For me, that got down to minutia that you wouldn't believe. For instance, the old me didn't make his bed in the morning. Didn't see much point of it, right? I'm just going to get into it later on in the day, so I didn't do it. The old me was not great about hanging things up. In fact, that's a terrible way to put it. The old me didn't hang things up. When enough stuff was on the floor that I couldn't walk to the bed, I did laundry. The old me had a series of habits that were so ingrained for so many years that when I got sober, I changed all of them. As I've said, I don't curse. The reason that I don't curse is because the old me did. Plain and simple. Now everything that I do, and I'm not telling you that you have to do this, but it worked so well for me. When I make my bed in the morning, it is a proclamation, right, of the fact that I'm a new me. This is not the old Tommy. When I hang clothing up, it's a proclamation of this is the new me. This is how the new me lives. All of the different things, small, itty bitty little things that all add up to a very, very different person. The way that I treat people is a daily change from the way that I used to treat people. I have talked about before how being a positive person is not a gift from birth, it's a choice. And sobriety is a choice. All of the things that we do in life are choices. So when you become a new creation in your sobriety, who is that new creation going to be? And let me tell you why this is so important, especially as it relates to forgiveness. People, I'm not the Tommy Scoville that I was 7 years ago. I'm not. Not in any way. There really is not much left of that person. It's not to say that I didn't bring forward the positive attributes. There were some good things about me. But for those of you who followed me for 8 or 9 months on Instagram before I came over here, I used to get messages, sometimes 10, 15, 20 a day that said, don't go to work, man. Your hands are this big, right? You're hurting yourself. Don't go to work. You know why I went to work? Because the old Tommy wouldn't have. In fact, the first day that, those hands hurt, I wouldn't have gone to work. I'd have called in sick because it was all about me. and what I wanted, and whatever anything else and anybody else had to do with that was not important. So if my boss had a deadline that he had to get done, it wasn't my problem. It was about me. So when I became this new creation, I was going to go to work unless I was missing an arm, unless what was wrong with me was going to hurt other people, right? That was probably the only thing that was going to stop me from going to work, because the new me goes out of his way not to hurt other people. Why is this important for forgiveness? Because the new me, old me paradigm is such a part of who I am in my sobriety that what is the point of trying to forgive the old me? Do you understand what I'm saying? When I become the new me is without blame. Now, you may think that this is a mental dance or whatever. I'm telling you it's not. The new me didn't do those things. There was a dictator running my life. There was an addiction that ruled every aspect of everything that I did. And that's gone. It's dead. It's buried. It's as far as east is from west. So it occurred to me that I'm trying to forgive someone else for things that they did. I'm sorry, that's not me. And as the more that I started to really concentrate on this and really started to think about it, people, we need to clearly define who the old you was. You really need to define who the old you was. And in doing so, define who the new you is. Because if you drag all of the attributes of the old you into the new you, well, then maybe you got some things you really need to address, right? Yeah, you better forgive that person because it's the same person. I'm having a much easier time dealing with the things that I've done in my past. People say, boy, it's impressive that you owned your past the way that you do, because I can very much detach myself from it. I'm not proud of the things that I've done, and it was me. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was a me that was ruled by chemicals. It was not a me that was in his right mind. Not in your right mind. Not guilty by reasons of insanity. If you do not think that the things that I was doing was insane, it's because you couldn't have followed me around for a day. Robbing a bank. The risk of that. I wasn't carrying a gun. I wasn't doing anything like that. But to go in there, I was putting myself and other people's lives at risk to get high. Walking into a store, prior to bank robberies, I went into a store and just stole armfuls of things. At some point, Jack's going to come down and he could tell you some stories. If the person working as a security guard tried to stop me, I was going to hit that person. I was going to take a swing at that person for all I was worth. And if he went down, I was probably going to kick him while he was down to ensure he wasn't going to get up and follow me. Is that the person that is talking to you today? Can you picture me that way? Honestly, can you picture, can you jive in your head the person that I talk about and the person who's talking to you today? Does that make sense to you? Because it probably doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not going to beat up the new Tommy Scoville for the things that the old Tommy Scoville did. I'm going to own it because it was me. But I'm going to detach myself from that. So when I make amends, which is a term that they use in 12 steps, and I do believe that it's something you have to do, I recommend a generic making of amends. There are people who are going to hate that. But you don't go to a person and say, I'm not going to a person and saying, let me tell you the 40 things that I did to you. I'm going to go to the person and say, let's say the person's name is, what did we call that other guy that time? I can't remember. Anyway, let's just say the person's name is Tommy. I'm going to go to him and say, Tommy, I want to apologize for what I did. Honestly, the person that I was is so detached from who I am today. I have changed my life 180 degrees from who I was. But I'm sorry for the things that I did that injured you. I'm sorry for the way that I treated you. I was not in my right mind, and I am so sorry. Going further than that, I think I gave the example of the guy that goes and says, hey, I'm really sorry I hit on your wife at that Christmas party, man. I hit on her for like an hour. I was just drunk and this and that. Do you know whether or not she told her husband about that? Right? You're trying to clear your conscience. But when you go and do that, he goes to his wife and says, Tommy hit on you for 2 hours at a Christmas party and you didn't tell me about it? What kind of relationship have we got? People don't do things that are going to injure others going forward. And it says, make amends where, doing so isn't going to injure people. How in the name of everything holy are you going to know if your apology is going to injure somebody? If I'm the person that you injured and you come to me and say, I'm really sorry, I don't need details. Why would I want details? Truthfully, why do I want to relive a part of my life that I didn't enjoy? If you're apologizing to me, then more than likely it was injurious. I don't want to relive that. How about a generic apology? Boy, you know what? I'm sober, and moving forward, I want to make amends to the people that I was bad to, and I want to make amends for the things that I did. I am so sorry. Now, if you feel the need to say I stole from you because that's what you did, then tell them. But let's not get into the minutia of it. Let's not break down, hey, there was a time that I was in the process of trying to break into your house. A car drove by and I ran up. Why are we doing this? How about just I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for who I was. I'm sorry for the person that I was, but that's not who I am today. And I would ask the world to judge me from when I got sober. Right? But we won't judge ourselves from when we got sober, will we? Think about it, people. We want the world to view us from the day we get sober and judge us going forward from that. And you know what? That's fair. That's what they should do. Then why don't we treat ourselves with that same dignity, right? With that same level of respect and say, I wasn't in my right mind. So there's absolutely no reason I'm going to beat myself up for the things that I did when I wasn't in my right mind. So this is a concept that I really wanted to hammer home. I will tomorrow list what my steps were. I also want you to know that you don't have to follow my steps. What I'm trying to encourage you to do is look at what I did, look at the 12 steps, and look at all the things and teachings that we've been doing here already, right? All the things that we've been talking about, and write your own. Oh, they're going to go nuts when they hear that. Whatever you do, don't write your own steps. You have to follow the 12. There wasn't an internet then. There wasn't all of the things. There's so much that has changed since then. And it was a religious concept. It was written based on, do a little research. It was written on 4 basic tenets, all of them religious. If you're not a religious person, maybe that's not the best bet, right? If you need to write 12 steps that don't have God in there, instead of writing something where you asked God for assistance, how about if you asked your support family? Remember me saying you couldn't choose your own family? Well, there was a reason that I introduced it as a concept, and when you hear the list of how it works for me, it'll make sense to you. And I will be doing that tomorrow. I don't want to prattle on too long, people. You guys don't watch these whole videos. I mean, we got statistics on all of what we do. I'm not trying to keep you here so long that you're going to stop watching. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. This boat is getting bigger, and it's getting better. And it's getting better because of you, not me. The people who are showing up here are bringing with them enthusiasm, and they're bringing with them knowledge and all of these things that make this a better ride for all of us. This support family is getting bigger. I would challenge you today that if you really want to hit the liquor store or call the dope man, come here and tell somebody that before you do it. That's your best bet. I promise you that's your best bet. And right about here, if you hit that, you're going to be on the boat, right? That's how you subscribe. Become a part of this. Be a support to others and allow others to be a support to you. That's what this boat is. Over here, you're going to see videos. Please go ahead and watch as many as possible because it's going to challenge you to think. And that's what the best thing that you can do in this sobriety is. I'm Tommy Scoville. This is the Tommy Scoville Show.